Hello, and welcome to TriggerSmart. I have a few guests here today to join me. Let me go ahead and pull them on here. We have Keli Rabon, investigative journalist extraordinaire, and we have Ali Top Files. A lot of you know her on X. She is joining us as well.
Hello.
And we'll give people a few minutes here to get joined in.
Thank you so much for having us. My gosh, I feel honored to be here.
Honored to have you.
I mean,
Thank you so much.
I've been watching.
Also, I do photography and a little bit of, I've done social events and media planning. That's what I do.
I've been watching your streams now. I mean, well, I'll say I stumbled across you somehow early on after this, the Charlie Kirk investigations were started. And I was really intrigued by your approach. And, I came across, your ballistics analysis, and then it kind of evolved into your overall analysis of the investigation. And I really appreciated how you were open-minded to looking at different, different possibilities. And so thank you.
Yeah, I know some other people, they're very close-minded and very set in what they think happened. And in all honesty, if anyone says they know 100% what happened, besides the FBI, if they have all the evidence, is kind of full of shit. So
yeah, I'm like, bring me your evidence, because I hadn't seen anybody bring a case file, to this point and say they've got it open shut, and here we are.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting too, because obviously we had the trial today. So, and really not much there, right? The trial was kind of can we use cameras was basically and then during it, one camera accidentally filmed his shackles, and then the judge had to reprimand everyone.
It's like, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. All right, let's see. We already have some questions here. Someone says they live in Utah. It's very corrupt. They have a 98% conviction rate.
Interesting.
Wow.
Well, that's an interesting...
I'm wondering why I can't hear Kelly.
Yeah, I can hear you fine, Kelly.
Okay, good. I'm like, I see a green on my mic. So
I can't hear her at all.
Well, the idea of having a 98% conviction rate is interesting. Back in my full-time TV reporter days, I actually did some stories while we're waiting for people to, if you want me to talk about this.
Yeah, go for it.
Matthew. Okay. I had did some investigations about sexual assault prosecution rates, and the idea that prosecutors would only take the slam dunk cases as a way to sort of inflate those prosecution rates. And so that's a whole other topic to kind of dive into. So a lot of cases would just get left kind of on the cutting room floor if they really required, further investigation, or that the prosecutor had to really get creative, do, a deeper dive.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I know there's several different streams going on. I know Dee got a podcast, Baron, and some other people are all going at the same time. So I'll just kind of go, and people will come and go as they come. So I want to start off first here with this. So this was talking about the security and the police that were there.
Let's bring in senior correspondent Brian Enton, who was live outside of the courthouse there in Provo. Brian, even Robinson's family members had to leave the courtroom.
Yeah, this was kind of a unique situation, Nicole. I was just up there. We waited in line. They let the first 75 people in. I was number 10, so I was able to get in. I was actually sitting right behind Tyler Robinson's mom, his dad, and his brother. His mom was crying throughout this. And we got in, we sat down. It was quite a process getting in. And then they started the hearing, and the judge almost immediately said, okay, I'm going to have to ask all members of the public and the media to now go back out into the hallway while we discuss whether or not to release a secret transcript from back on October 24th. So we saw Tyler Robinson, we sat down. It was the first time we've ever seen him in person, by the way, Nicole. All the other hearings have been virtual. So it was really striking to see him in person. I mean, what I noticed was he's a very, very skinny, small guy. He was very, very attentive. He has 3 lawyers. He was talking with them as the hearing was about to start. But as soon as we got in, sat down, basically the judge said we all had to leave again. The defense asked if Tyler Robinson's parents could stay in the courtroom, and the judge said no. So the mom was crying. She came back out into the hallway with us. Now we're waiting to find out when we'll be let back into the courtroom. Security is so intense, Nicole. I don't think I've ever seen a police situation like this at a courthouse. They've got all the roads right now closed around the courthouse. They brought Tyler Robinson in this convoy of police vehicles with a Humvee in the convoy. And then when you're in the courtroom,
So you get the idea. They definitely, it was pretty heavy duty. So he's getting VIP treatment. To me, he looks very healthy.
He looks happy.
He looks like he's loving it. So whatever they're doing in there, they're doing right.
Yes.
I mean, the guy, he also could just be happy to be outside of the prison cell too.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he's getting some different food, some Pop-Tarts or something. All right, we covered that. Okay, so the purpose of this stream is to kind of go over the chain of custody. So there's a thing called chain of custody when it comes to legal stuff, and it's basically any evidence. Is there any point in the handling of the evidence that would make it so that the prosecution and stuff, so they can't use it, basically? So in the aftermath of the Utah Valley University shooting, multiple evidence handling issues have been identified. For example, everyone knows about the SD card issue. There's also surveillance video that's missing. And I've heard that only internal testing has been done on the blood. So remember, they said that they found DNA all over the gun, on every part of the gun. So if that's true, then that means it's only been tested internally, which, you know, depends on how much you trust your government, I guess, in that case. So let's go ahead and start with the SD card. And actually, one interesting thing from Case, let me see, let me show this here. So this was at the very beginning of the court case today. Someone said, "I'm in the courthouse. Tyler tried to escape." I don't know how true this is, but, and I wouldn't put it past him, right? You know, he's possibly on trial to get the death penalty, but I thought that was very interesting. And that was kind of right at the beginning when everything was first set up. If that's true or not, I don't know. All right, so let's kind of look at this.
Hey guys, I'm in the airport. I'm on the move. I've been looking into, obviously I've been working on the Charlie Kirk assassination, but specifically the alleged assassin's parents, Tyler Robinson's parents. I've learned that they have been having virtual visits with Tyler Robinson, about 2 a week virtually. Visiting in person is kind of tricky at that jail where Tyler Robinson is. They only allow it through like a glass wall. So the visits have been virtual, but what's...
So that's interesting. So he's getting virtual visits with his family, and this is the mom and dad who supposedly turned him in. How would you speak to your child if you turn them in to possibly get the death penalty, and now you're smiling in their face and trying to have conversations with them and show them that you love them? That has to be rough. So now Benny Johnson was talking about the DNA, and he was saying that they have all the DNA you could ever imagine, all over the gun, all over the screwdriver, some on the gravel where he was laying down. So if that is true, and they have video from the roof, then this is kind of an open and closed case if there weren't these other issues that popped up. So first thing I want to go into is the SD card. So have you guys done any specific research into this?
Well, we had an interview with the first speaker that spoke to Charlie that day. I think his name is Henry.
Henry Dell. Mhm.
He gave us a little bit of interesting fact that when this all went down, they took all the kids into a room with the door shut, and I guess just to be safe and to be interviewed, I guess, later. So he was there for a good 4 hours, most of the day, he said. After this happened. Yeah, we did an interview maybe a month, maybe 3 weeks ago. I'm not sure. Anyways, also he said that the SD card was given to FBI. And we asked him, well, how is that possible? Because on video footage, you can clearly see him take it, like step up on the chair, take it down, look around, and put it somewhere. And there's no kids around. They've been told to go away. So what we wanted to know is, when did you hear that? Who did you hear that from? And they just heard it from a staff member. So I don't believe that the SD card was given, because he was there. Terrell Farnsworth was there for about, I don't know if Kelly can quote me, but he was there at the tent for quite some time.
He was tap dancing on that thing.
2 or 3 hours he was there.
Mm-hmm.
So when was that SD card given, and how do we know that? And that speaker, Henry, said it was given, but a staff member said that. So how valid is that? I don't think we're going to see it. That's just my opinion. I don't think we're going to see that footage.
Yeah.
So
Though Candace saw it.
Well,
right. But I mean, it could have been that if in fact it was streamed back streamed back live, as Candace said, that they were trying out this new way of doing things, right? Because Charlie just wanted to be ahead of the curve and churn out content faster than ever before, right? That maybe that was how they had captured it. That might have been a backup. Who knows?
So no, I think the official story is that he took it trying to protect it. That's what he says. And then he eventually turned it over. Now, the break here, we're talking about chain of custody. The issue with that would be that he claimed that he took it and gave it to them and it's been turned over. The problem is there's a huge break in custody, because during that time period, like, I'm an editor, I edit my own videos. So I can tell you, if someone gave me an SD card for 20 minutes, I could do a lot with that footage. So
Thank you.
That is a huge
Of
break.
course. Yeah. We just,
For me,
what I'm
the
saying
same
is
thing.
we
I'm a
don't
photographer,
know.
and I can manipulate any photo if I wanted to.
Right. We
So
don't know.
That's what I was telling Henry. I said, well, now we don't know. We don't know where it is and what they've done to it. And that's the concern I have.
Yeah. How many places, how many devices did that SD card visit between, A, B, C, and Z?
And were there copies made? I mean, that'd
Right.
also be another break too. So they have to prove the footage wasn't altered. That could be tricky. And then they also have to, and then the camera fell over. One did. And they also took the camera. But it records audio and video, and it might be recording them separately. So there could be separate devices. There could be one device for video and one for audio, and they could both be tampered with separately.
Right. I find it very odd to step up. And that's another thing, if you want to add that to the list. The chair he was sitting on, they're tampering with that as well. Why are you stepping on the chair that Charlie sat on? That's a no-no.
Mm-hmm. That officer that walked up and
where is that SD card now?
Yeah.
I already told a lot of people. I just think it's completely gone. It's completely obliterated. It's not there. And I know as a photographer that if you put it up, if you upload all your files, you can do whatever you want with it. Even some of the photographs that I see from the event, I see some things that I don't like. That's another problem I have.
And any of the law enforcement agencies potentially investigating, I mean, whoever it would have been or could have been to potentially take that card in, I mean, it really doesn't matter at this point. They don't owe us to tell us at this point, yes, we received the card from Terrell. We're not going to hear that. We wouldn't potentially know about it until the trial anyway.
So we have this question here from Shelly. Why did they refuse medics? So Brian Harpole in his interview said that they had to make a decision. And basically it was, get out of here now, because we don't know if more shots are coming. And we don't know if we're going to be able to protect him, right? Because they didn't have bulletproof vests and stuff on. So there's no way they could protect him, even if they covered his body. So they decided to evacuate him and get him out of there. So once they made that decision, the medics were kind of coming up to them as they're loading him into the car, evacuating him. So that's probably why they refused it, because the timing was horrible.
Agreed. At least one of them could have helped, though, but I'm not sure why they ignored them,
Yeah, I
May-
mean, I never saw anyone even look
Maybe there's
though
nothing that they could have done.
to see if
Also, going
there
back to the
was a
SD card,
potential.
I'm not quite sure why that was the most important one to take down. You had to unscrew it, step on a chair, do all those things when there was 3 or 4 cameras all along or around the tent that they didn't even touch.
Hey, Allie, can you still not hear Kelly?
I cannot hear her.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe I'll cue the starts and stops then.
Okay,
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry, Kelly.
that's okay.
But yeah, so I have this video here, and it's this is, you know, everyone knows Paramount Tactical, right? Like, he's the Brian Harple interviewer guy, kind of believes the official narrative, and you know, kind of talks down about everyone else and their theories and that kind of thing. But Blake Bednar's, he was also on that channel as well.
I've been on there too. I was.
Oh, yeah. I'm the only one here that hasn't been on there, I think. But basically they're talking about the SD card and if it's illegal that he messed with it. Let's see what they have to say.
Was it wrong for the videographer to secure the SD card?
I think Barron said something about you though on his last
camera. Does it
not
make
this last
evidence
live stream, but the one before.
others meeting on X? Was he tampering with evidence when he did that, in your opinion?
I mean, physically removing it, if he's not like trying to destroy it or trying to conceal it or something like that, then no, he's not tampering with evidence. It is his property, and until law enforcement seizes it, you know, legally and secures it, either because they have a warrant for it, that's a judge saying you're required to turn this over to me, or what happens far more often in a case like this where you have cooperative witnesses, they just agree to give it to you. He has the right to do whatever he wants with it. So it's not a legal problem in that sense. Where the issue, if there is any issue with this at all, comes up is with chain of custody. The fact that he took it into, you know, his possession, didn't leave it in the camera, does that pose any sort of risk to the integrity of what is on that disc?
Yes, it does. Very much so. So I think that's kind of the answer to that question. So moving on to the next thing. The next thing in our list is the scene contamination. So medics and helpers moved objects to assist the victim. So you have the security team jump in and they all just kind of start knocking stuff around. You saw the chairs and everything get moved. That's going to affect like the blood splatter pattern, even like the line of sight for the shooter and everything would all be completely knocked out of whack. So that's going to cause a lot of problems. And no early measurement or photography preserved the original scene. So reconstruction becomes unreliable, and the defense can question bullet trajectory, shooter angle, and physical evidence placement. So anytime a scene changes before documentation, you lose clarity. So this guy here, he's always dramatic. But
so a murder, an assassination just happened. I don't care if you work for Turning Point. I don't give a damn what anybody's story is. Nothing is to be touched. That camera that was behind Charlie, that is now evidence. The chair that you moved and you stand on, you just contaminated the crime scene.
So I think that's what we usually see in movies and shows, right? Anything in that whole area, like in that entire room, everything is evidence. Even the tent becomes evidence because blood splats on it, right? So I agree with him. I think that the SD card is 100% an issue, and I think the crime scene was very contaminated multiple times.
Where has he been?
Oh,
since?
I agree. Even where they were stepping, like back and forth, people going through there. I'm like, what is going on?
I would say,
and of course, the paving. That's just obvious.
Where has he been since? Speaking out that emphatically, I guess, since and excitedly since that moment, because yeah, he sure was excited in that video.
All right, so
he sure was excited in that video.
Oh, we have an echo.
An echo.
So Allie, can you talk about this? This is the microphone.
Yes. So this was posted on an influencer's page. It was from their gala December 6th. And it's apparently the UVU's Charlie's mic encased at Mar-a-Lago. I don't know if it's staying there, but it was on display at the event, and it was taken by many people. You can even look it up. It's been tagged everywhere.
And this would, I mean, clearly he was holding it. It was right in front of him when he got shot. So
Yes.
that would be evidence tampering. That would definitely break the chain of custody. Why is this not in court?
Exactly.
Kind of sketchy.
And now, can we even use it now? What's the point?
And then, of course, everyone knows about the pendant, the necklace. So Erica Kirk carries around his necklace that has blood on it, and she hasn't washed it off, apparently. And in some of the pictures that I won't show because there's blood, you can clearly see his necklace is still attached to him or on him as he's being carried away by a security team. So that theoretically should be evidence as well. And obviously, there's some theories that believe that there's maybe this went into his neck, right? The pendant theory that I covered, or maybe it has some explosive, some PNT or whatever it's called in the actual pendant itself. And maybe that blew up and killed him or something similar. So that should probably be with them as well. That should be with the FBI.
It should be bagged, sealed
1000%
until trial.
I have so many things. I've got, and y'all are going to hear this is the constant thing for me, but I mean, I have like a bunch of different, I'm big on video stories because I love my evidence. Just being with my history in TV, I always think people don't necessarily, want to just believe what you say. They need to see it for themselves, hear it for themselves all together at once. And so all I can say is that I want to show you the proof. So bear with me, but I've got something that I'm going to put together for you guys that is going to show all these little stories spliced together that how they does not make sense. They crafted this necklace story, but then they lost the narrative. They got a little too crazy with it and they couldn't keep up with their necklace story, and they never should have come up with it because the necklace should have stayed in evidence the whole time. Sorry.
Yeah, we have Ivan is crazy says the camera might have had the long shot app on it. I mean, it's definitely possible. The technology there definitely exists. So who knows what they have nowadays? They have some crazy spy stuff back in the 70s and 80s. We're 45 years later, and just imagine what kind of technology they can do with these things. So another thing that was crazy was the gun. So this is the official picture that they released. This is apparently not the actual firearm that was used. This is just a similar type of rifle. This is basically a synthetic stock of the same rifle. Supposedly his was the wooden stock, and this has a cardboard box. Obviously, he wasn't carrying a cardboard box around with him when he was running around and jumping off the roof. So this, to me, the FBI has been either purposefully misleading or they've been extremely careless in what they've been releasing.
Oh, I agree. So the fingerprints are on the gun. Well, it's his gun, right? Fingerprints are going to be on it. Now, something about the towel has his fingerprints, and you said something about the roof. I find how they're focusing all on that when they've tampered with every single evidence. They put their fingerprints on every single thing around Charlie there, that they're focusing on this one gun. Am I wrong here, guys?
No, I mean, that's an interesting point that his fingerprints would be on it just because he owns it. It's not like he went somewhere and stole something and they found his fingerprints on the stolen item. So that's
right. One hypothesis, okay, that I have come up with, if I could just throw that out there for kicks, all right, is that if Tyler could somehow be involved with this, might be that he or someone got his gun that he may have handled, okay, even if it was grandpa's gun that he has used before, so his fingerprints would be on it, and put it at the scene, at the scene where it was discovered. And that's that.
Yeah, I mean, the burden of, the burden is on them to prove that
there was more involvement beyond that.
Correct.
But I'm just
beyond
saying
ownership, yeah.
it could be as simple as that.
Yeah, I agree. So now a lot of people know about this. This is the next piece. So moving down the narrative meltdown. So everyone remembers initially they had the wrong suspects. So Cash Patel said, "Hey, we got the guy." First, it was the old guy. I don't know if you know his name, Ali. The old man that was caught initially up front. Who was saying
George Singh.
Yeah, George Singh was saying, "Hey, it's me," and took his pants down and everything, right? Clearly a distraction. Huge story behind that guy. If you get bored, go Google him. You'll see all kinds of crazy coincidences. But every major catastrophe or event that happens in the world, he's there somehow doing interviews and that kind of stuff. It's very strange, like a time traveler or something. It's really weird.
And just for fun, let's remember that Erica says she does not believe in coincidences. Okay, so if we subscribe to that, then we've got to put a lot of stock in all of these things.
Yeah, and I think then there was at least one or two other people they said was the guy, and then they released them shortly after that. And then, of course, 33 hours later, magic number 33, they said they caught him, but if they didn't catch him, he turned himself in. So almost every single thing that we were told by the FBI initially was a lie. The pictures they released were incorrect. They were not the actual items. So what happened? I mean, is this common for them to put the wrong stuff out there initially on purpose? Were they trying to purposely mislead people? I don't know. Let's see. He says DNA was on the towel, not fingerprints. So if you look at the charging stuff for a court, it specifically says that his DNA was on the bolt and the gun itself. I'm not sure about the towel. And thank you, Tactic Steve AZ, for your super chat. Very easy to plant data. Yep, definitely. Where's Twigs? Have you guys heard anything about Lance?
Not in a long time. Gosh, I think it's been since late September, early October since I had heard anything about him. And the last that I had heard was someone going by that townhouse and saying that it looked like that someone had just, vanished, that there were still like cups and stuff like trash, sitting out on tables, like you could see kind of in the unit, but also that it didn't look vacant, but it also didn't look like someone was staying in there as well. I don't know, that it just looked weird.
Well, then like a little side quest, everyone heard about the, well, not everyone, there was the Discord logs. And it kind of talks about all the details about Lance and kind of just all the weirdness in their household, mental illness, physical attacks and abuse, a lot of like strange cryptic drawings and things that Lance was doing. He was very unstable. He was on hormone replacement therapy to transition. There was just a lot there. And that's why I think a lot of people initially thought that he was the one who did it and not Tyler. Mm-hmm. Allegedly, of course. So that may still come up. There might be something that ends up coming out in court. I don't know do you think Lance will be there to defend himself or try and defend Tyler?
Well, I mean, at this point, does he have I think we have this inclination to want to say the feds, right? Because initially the feds had so much involvement, but I mean, there are no federal charges, right? We have to continue to remind ourselves that there's no reason at this point until someone calls Lance to testify. I don't know if we'll even hear from Lance.
Let's see. Base Taz. The original Mauser is in 7.92 German and less common 7.65 Argentine. Yeah, I was looking that up. It said World War I and World War II. There was actually a lot of 30-06, and some of the Mausers were 30-06, but they were wooden stocks. And then, of course, a lot of people updated them to a synthetic stock later on. So they have the original barrel and trigger group and everything, but they're just a different stock. But that's interesting. Thanks for that note.
Can I mention someone in the chat?
Matthew, did you also say that they have the cartridge too? The shell?
Yes, they said the spent shell casing was in the rifle, and they had like 2 or 3 other shells in addition to that. And they said there was stuff scratched and etched into it, like hate speech.
Right. And we didn't see that yet. That'll be evidence, I guess.
I want to say they showed it initially.
Really?
Yeah, I want to say they showed like this, because remember initially they said it was this trans group, this trans militia group is what did it, and then they were showing some of the casings from previous stuff that was similar, like the church shooting of the little kids. That guy there had similar type of things with the etching into the casing.
Right.
So
Hmm.
yeah.
Now with the towel, is that towel seen as he's jumping off the roof?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And
Okay.
picked up from the ground before he runs off. Yep. Or walks off, I should say.
Okay.
So someone in the chat mentioned that Lance had ops teams at his apartment for the last year posing as plumbers. Now I was thinking that he had done some work as like a plumber, or that he was either doing work as a plumber or replacing tubs, something like that himself. So I'm curious if that person has that information, if they want to share a little bit more about that, because I know I'd spent some time digging into even his Venmo. That's a fun investigative hack for you guys. You can add that to your your tips. But yeah, going back and forth in Venmo stuff, and there's like a lot of tub stuff in there. So anyway, maybe they have some more details.
Cash is great at making lines disappear. That's funny. All right. So our next thing here. Well, first let's go over the poll. So it looks like about 65% of you think that he's going to get convicted. That's lower than I expected. Interesting. Huh. And you said, Kelly, that you don't think he will be convicted.
No.
What about you, Ellie?
Nope. I don't think so. Not with that smile he had today. Or he's getting paid off to go somewhere. That's not happening.
Yeah, he looks like he's very comfortable with what's going on.
You just see the prosecution looking at him as he's saying, I forgot what he was saying. I have a video of it. I can't even do this or that, or I can't even say this. He was whispering it, and the prosecution's looking over. They look worried. He has a smile on his face, so I'm very interested to see the rest of this.
You know what else is quite strange though? Last night I was Googling information about today's hearing, just putting in Tyler Robinson, December 12/11, and I even tried December 11 hearing. Nothing was coming up in news in Google or in searching in regular Google, in news. Nothing. Just an observation.
Well, in this court thing that popped up today, I don't know if they.
I knew that it was going to happen. I had it in my calendar, but it was just interesting to me that it's like,
Tactic Steve says there's a bombshell about to happen. I think a lot of people would agree with that. They may pull the rug. He may disappear. He may be Epsteined. I mean, who knows? But apparently, I know some of you are new in here, and if you're just getting here now, we're basically covering where they dropped the ball, where the FBI messed up, or things that may have been tampered to break the chain of custody so that certain things may not be able to be used in court. And yeah, it's been very interesting. And then today, they ruled officially that yes, there will be cameras in the courtroom, but they've already been reprimanded because someone, I think it was a phone, was streaming and caught his ankle bracelet or the chains holding his legs together. And because of that, the judge basically said, like, yes, we're going to have, you guys can film. It's the second we start, you can film. And the second we stop, you have to stop filming. So they can't film any other time except during court and session. But he basically said, if you guys keep messing up, I'm going to take away your ability to have cameras. And my first thought was, if you were associated with the people that want to, make him be guilty, you could easily just have the cameraman mess up on purpose a few times and get that thrown out, and then no one can watch it. But hopefully that doesn't happen.
Very smart, yeah.
Mm.
All right, so let's look at this here really quick. This was about the footage that came up missing.
Rudy Bautista is a Rule 8 attorney, qualifications only select number of defense attorneys in Utah have in order to defend cases with a capital offense, some involving a possible death penalty. He's not affiliated with the case involving Tyler Robinson, who's accused of shooting and killing Charlie Kirk back in September. I showed him what I found that could indicate there is potential missing evidence in the case.
He said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk shooter is."
On September 17th, 2025, Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby held a press conference.
Our job was not to interview. Our job was just to get him here.
After Charlie Kirk's alleged shooter was taken into custody in Washington County less than 2 days after the shooting.
Within the hour, my friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office, where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives.
After learning of this, I submitted a public records request to obtain any video of Tyler Robinson walking into the jail facility. Washington County responded saying there were no records responsive to the request, as Robinson did not go to the jail area.
So I think many of you are familiar with that. Long story short, they said they either never had the record, or after 30 days, it automatically gets purged. Now that again, that would be chain of custody break in evidence. I mean, it's all over the place. So to me, I don't like, saying definitively, but I don't think he's going to be convicted either. And if he is, it's going to be a light sentence.
Yes.
Like we're going to smack your hands and you get to go back to your parents.
Oh, somebody said something about, yeah, I sent everybody to come over here and watch this. This is amazing.
Yeah, you have your crew here. That's part of the benefit of doing this stuff. You can bring your people with you. There was let's see, Kash Patel. Yeah, so basically Kash Patel and the FBI named 3 different people that were the shooter. And even Trump came out and said, hey, we got him. Like, this is it. This is the guy. FBI killed it. Kash Patel. And then eventually he turned himself in, and now he's the one. So at this point, I want them to come out and say, hey, we have video of him doing it.
Mm-hmm.
We have it. They don't even have to show it, right? If they're worried about messing up the case, they don't have to show it to anyone. But if they come out and say, we have video of him in 4K on the roof pulling the trigger, then everyone else could calm down and we would have to keep digging into all these theories and stuff. Although it's fun, it does take a lot of time.
I won't believe it till I see it. And then now at this point, I'm going to be like, all right, it took you 3 months to come up to AI some video.
And then we have stuff like this. This is one Ali sent over. So this is Chief Long. This is the one that Brian Harpel said he would cover the roof, and he's got it. That he's saying should come out and act like a man and take responsibility for Charlie Kirk dying. But this is the little short video here of him basically messing with the microphone. I can't verify this is Charlie's mic, but this is a microphone. So this could theoretically be one of the students or something, but I'll show you this here real quick.
I'm getting out of here. Stay close. You guys up this way. Let's go up that way. Hey!
You can see him right here.
Go, guys. That way.
Talking into it, messing with it, taps it on the table, sits it down. So he might have just been, maybe he's just being a good Samaritan and making sure it was turned off to save battery or something, but
it's still a no-no.
Floppy AF.
Yeah, I mean, all of it.
Where's the gloves? Where's the gloves, Matthew? What is he doing?
Well, you would think
they had crime scene tape upstairs to roll that out and cross that off as, and keep the public from being able to go back and forth on that area directly above Charlie overhead. Like, they should have immediately shut that area down.
Hey, Measured Man, thanks for the super chat. Looks like thanks, Ali, for getting me over here to the channel. You don't know me, but I follow and repost you a lot and lots of data. LOL. That's a shout out to you, Ali.
Thanks for coming here. Thanks for checking us out, getting the facts.
Let's see. Matt is urging you to do a deep dive into TPUSA financials. This will shed light bearing inside job. Just saying. Yeah, I think so. I'm torn on the financials, right? So it came out that President Trump and the IRS said that they weren't being investigated. They said that there was no reason for them to think there was fraud. So Woes in Finance came out and he basically said there's all this crazy stuff going on. And then even in the video himself, he says there's nothing illegal. So like, yes, there's maybe some funny stuff going on, but that's not uncommon in these companies. They do creative financials to make extra money and pad their pockets, right? But like he said, there's nothing specifically going on. So if that's the case, then there's no reason to investigate them. So that would make sense.
Just because it's not illegal does not make it right, though.
It's not morally correct. So.
And I would say just because it's not illegal on the surface does not mean that you don't ultimately find something that's illegal. Oftentimes, I don't know, the 2 and 2 end up going hand in hand. That's just my experience.
Well, and another thing I want to talk about here is the forensics testing. So I don't have videos or anything on it, but basically from what I've heard, the DNA, ballistics, and autopsy were all done internally. And if you remember, Brian Harpel said that he didn't witness the autopsy. He didn't say he'd seen the autopsy. He said they were going to do one and then drove the body away from him. So as of right now, they said that one was done, but there's nothing publicly available. I assume it would come out in court if there was, and they can talk about all those little specific details, but it still doesn't make a lot of sense. I've told people before that 30-06 has stopped in, well, rifle rounds, I should say, have stopped in human bodies and animals. People have seen it. So it can happen, but is it common? I don't know. Hunters talk about it all the time, but if you have, there's millions of hunters shooting thousands of rounds, it's bound to happen. But taking one shot at one human being, the fact that it happened, that'd be like a 1 in a million, right? So still kind of sketchy, but so no third-party verification on DNA or anything else. Do they need that? I don't know. But if I was the defense, I'd be saying, hey, who verified this besides the FBI or the CIA? They've already dropped the ball on XYZ. They told us up front they had 3 different people that were the shooter. They allowed the SD card and stuff to just be handled and played with. And as far as I know, no one's gotten in trouble for any of that stuff.
I would tear that whole thing up if I were the defense, and I hope that they do. So I go back to when I was a reporter, the Aurora Theater shooting, and the way that the crime scene was handled there. And I'm sorry, I don't have it pulled up right now, but there was a lengthy period of time before the AMC theater was released, even back to AMC, to start working on reupholstering things, to even get in there and do anything, right? It took a while. Now, granted, there were more people who were, who were killed. It was bad, but still, the defense was able to walk the scene. Not only was there a lot of, a lot of evidence that had to be collected, but the defense was ultimately able to walk that crime scene. And it's like, before it was released to the public, let alone before it was turned over and cleaned, demolished, and completely repaired.
Well, there's also allegations now, too, that supposedly UVU access logs have been edited. So, and those are just allegations, but that would be very interesting. And then we have the public chain of custody for the logs for the rifles, casings, and screwdriver and digital devices is not released. So we have no idea. They're doing everything internal, including DNA and all the rifle and everything else, and they haven't shown any of it. They've just shown things that are similar to it. So as far as we know, this could be completely 100% made up at this point. Susan Holmes says, selling t-shirts at his funeral isn't morally correct either, but it's so cringy. And I heard they made like $140 million or something insane off of the sales. And now they're really pushing his book. Erica Kirk is doing a book tour. It's all very interesting. And they're talking about Candace making money off of it. I'm sure they're doing pretty well themselves.
It's crazy because Rob McCoy is the first one to promote that book when he was in, you know where. And he was there in November. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the name, but he was there November 14th to the 20th, I believe. And he promoted the book. And then when he came back, Erica started promoting the book all week long.
Well, and one thing I find interesting, I don't like talking about religion too much, but so a couple of things. So first, actually, everyone in the chat, basically answer this.
But Matthew, it's involved.
Yeah, but this is interesting. So do you think that Catholics doing the rosary and praying to the saints goes against idolatry in the Bible for Christians? Put a 1 if you think it does, put a 2 if you don't think it does. I'm just interested what people think. And the reason I'm asking is because Charlie Kirk was a Christian, and it sounds like he kind of converted to being a Catholic.
Correct, which would make that book not possible.
Which would make what he preached and everything he talked about kind of go against the Bible's idolatry issues.
Exactly.
Looks like we're about half and half in the chat. Yeah, someone says they're not religious, but they would think so. So I've always wondered that. So now she's going around saying that they had their rosaries and they prayed and that kind of stuff. That seems very strange to me for his background and what they push. Because as far as I know, TPUSA Faith is not Catholic. Actually, I've looked it up before, but let me see. Is TPUSA Faith Catholic? No, TPUS Faith says they're not exclusively Catholic. It's a broad political conservative Christian movement. Evangelicals and Catholic. Okay. So I heard he was an evangelical Christian. Do evangelicals use the rosary and pray to saints like Erica says he does?
Also, he was leaving that movement. It said in that text that got screenshotted and shared all over that he was leaving that movement. So I just find it odd with the book now. Where's the explanation? Like, I don't understand why this book's being put out.
And was this book done before he died? Did they alter anything?
Of course.
I mean,
is it his original?
Didn't even have anything to do with the book.
Yeah.
I mean, was
It's
it done
rewritten.
completely
It's completely
behind
rewritten.
his back? Like,
No, I just want to know. I just don't know if Eric is compromised. Like, that's the only thing I'm trying to figure out right now. Just saying.
So that's an interesting question. You cannot be Catholic and an evangelical Christian? I
yeah,
don't know.
they're different, very, very different.
That's like being Buddhist and Christian. They have very different beliefs.
Yeah. Very, very different.
Right. And what was Erica?
I believe she's Catholic. She always talks about rosary.
Yes.
I don't think she was just Catholic. Was she? Does anybody know in the chat?
Yeah, she was much more so she was much more Catholic. He was much more evangelical Christian, but he didn't necessarily like, or she
brought up Catholic. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I knew she was Catholic. Like, I just figured out that she wasn't, though. You know what I mean? But she must have changed at some point.
But she was swaying him away from, my understanding, away from the idea of these more like casual, because I'd heard Candace talk about this, these more casual ideas of, it said like, going to church in a gym, teach, which is kind of a knock on, Rob McCoy, not that he's like preaching in a gym, but your pastor wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
Now that, I've seen that at churches here, and they have tattoos and they're cool. They're typically non-denominational, though. All right, just real quick, I have off-script radio, which is basically what I've been doing on my TriggerSmart channel, and that's where I have guests on. That's where I cover the Charlie Kirk stuff and have people like Al Geist on. And over at Off-Script Radio on YouTube, I'm trying to get it to 1,000 subs, so anything I post over there can actually get monetized. So if you can help me out, go over there and subscribe. And I think I'm at like 450 or something similar, but if you can help me boost that up, that would be great. And of course, if you don't already follow Ali Top Files.
Oh man, Alley Top Files is getting banned every day.
And Keli Rabon, make sure you go follow them on X. I believe, Kelly, you're on more as well. Can you share where you're at?
Yes, so I am on YouTube. I've got a little account on YouTube where you can help me make it bigger. Keli Rabon, KeliRabon, and then on Instagram, KELIR. Would love your support on all of those. Thank you.
And then Ali Top Files is on X, and like she says, she does tend to get in trouble, so that name may change. Let's see. Just looking through questions here. I'm not sure exactly what this means. Measured Man, thanks for the super chat. It's the endowments and Superfeed. Look who did own Superfeed and consultant for TPUSA. They left her off the 990s. Was consultant being paid? Superfeed. What is that? Superfeed Technologies. Mobile application technology.
Superfeed does. Golly, that sounds so familiar.
I see a couple of them.
Did they also transfer like 87 million into the TPUSA action? Wasn't there like a transfer of that of some sort?
Yes.
Yeah.
What that does, but if I know that they only have to on those 990s. They are limited in the amount that they have to disclose. Like they, don't have to list out everything, right? So it could be that they just kind of only have to list out like the top 5 or whatever amounts. 5 biggest vendors.
Persephone says Candace isn't making the type of money EK and crew are making. So I think Harsh, I want to say, kind of dug into that, and he was estimating that at the current rate, she would make about 250 million within the first like 6 to 8 months or something, based on ads. Because I think she gets 175,000 an ad or something similar, and she runs a couple every stream, and then she gets millions of views, which is another, tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Why is Erica mad now? I'm so glad she spoke out, guys. I'm very, very happy that she did that because I had a little glimmer of hope for Erica, but now it's just gone. It's completely diminished. I don't know why. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so to be honest, it's the first time I've seen her act real.
Really?
She actually looked pissed off. She actually looked like her emotions were legit for the first time since I've seen her.
Exactly. And there was no script either. And she looked
we don't
mad.
know that. We don't know that.
Well, we don't know.
Teleprompter.
But she wasn't. She's usually reading something. That's what I'm saying. But the thing that I didn't like was how she said the TPUSA was her family, and you're attacking her family, and that she won't have it. That's where the turning point is. Like when you attack my family, and I just thought that was odd that she said that. What about Charlie? What about Charlie's family? What about his legacy? Why are we doing all this promoting of this and that? It doesn't look good. You made enough off the memorial. You made enough off of all this. Can we just stop? And she doesn't want to stop. She said she's going to keep going. And I don't know. I just find it odd, weird. And for her to get this mad now, and when Candace is getting death threats on top of this, she's not concerned. She's just more concerned about her making money. It's all about money. It's all about the book. It's all about money. She's not concerned about what is going on with Candace right now, which is...
Now, Erica Kirk is saying that her crew is also getting death threats.
Yeah, probably. Most definitely.
So I would say in that aspect, they're both wrong, right?
Yeah, but I don't know from where.
Well, think about what she's saying.
Okay. Wait, hold on. Let's rewind on that real quick. Okay?
She's probably saying if you don't...
Can
Sorry.
we rewind on that real fast? Okay, let's remember back when Benny Johnson, okay, a few months ago, I want to say this was October, when he did a press conference, I want to say, yeah, with Pam Bondi, and he came out. He had received a death threat, and they were going to protect him. And this was not going to, be. They were not going to stand for this, and yeah, they were going to protect him. He was not going to have the same fate as Charlie. If that was actually happening, you don't think that Erica would have, everybody defending TPUSA? They would have that stuff on blast? Come on now.
Yeah, the Benny Johnson thing.
Yeah, that was sus.
There was more.
But if all these TPUSA death threats were real, that stuff, they would make so much hay of that.
Benny Johnson had more than one, I thought. I think he's had 3 or 4 this year.
Well, there was one that I know of that they supposedly arrested the guy, and I'd be curious to know if anything even happened with that case.
Do you know if Charlie Kirk had a wake?
No. I've looked into it many a time, and
now there's some funny business that people have talked about with the showing that they did with his hands and the skin color and some other things that Allie's really dug into. If you want to see some of the in-depth stuff she's talked about, you can go check it out on her X page. But long story short, it's kind of funky. And Erica was wearing a microphone during that to make sure people could hear her telling her how much she loves him and everything. It seems very staged as well.
I agree. Yeah, go check it out. It's going wild right now. Her hand topples his hand. My man is 6'6". Okay, I'm 5'2". I have tiny hands. It's just not possible. I'm sorry. It's just not possible. Charlie's hands were bigger than my partner's hands. Charlie was a tall guy. Tall guys have big hands. And I kind of did the side by side of Erica's hands in their wedding photo, and you can clearly see. And even when they hold hands, you guys can all research this yourself. Whatever is in that coffin, I do not know what it is, but it's not him.
No, I did look up the skin color thing, and it is not uncommon if the body is out for too long, unpreserved, like maybe with the examiner or whoever it was, that it can start to get jaundice and turn yellow. So the skin color doesn't bother me as much as the hand size.
Yes.
Let's see, from Quags or K-Wags, I'm not sure what you go by. Do you think that this is big talk to get people to stop asking questions about the Epstein files? No one's talking about Epstein anymore, so maybe they faked his death. What do you think, Kelly?
Yeah. I told my mom that the day that that the incident happened. Literally, my mom was here staying at my house that night, and she would testify that I walked into her room and I said, "Mom, I know this is going to be really hard to hear, but I want you to consider this." And she's like, "Kelly, stop that right now." And because let me tell you, she is ultra right. And like, I didn't do Thanksgiving with them last year because I have differing views. And so anyway, but she has come around to I would say to see the light. It's kind of shocking.
So I asked the chat, is Erica Kirk innocent? 93% say no. Interesting.
Yeah, I think she's on the files.
We also had that chat after the first the Erica's quote address to the nation, on the YouTube video. Said, my goodness. what do you think? I said, I feel like I am watching a really bad Lifetime movie and something just does not seem right. Like, I feel like it's going to end really bad, but I had no idea it was going to turn into a day by day Netflix series. You know, it's just like it's ongoing and it won't end.
I'm just doing another poll, basically asking if Charlie knew about this corruption. There are a lot of people coming out now saying that there's no way he couldn't have known about all of this, considering, because if you look at everyone around him, there's a lot of allegations like Tyler Boyer was basically playing HR. So instead of having HR actually handle the inappropriate touch stuff that was happening in the company, he would basically handle it himself and cut it off before it got to HR. And there are actual documents and police filings of this happening. And then you have apparently Blake Neff had many racist remarks and a lot of hate speech, and he was fired by Tucker Carlson and his team. And he was using an alias when he was doing it, but it just seems like the people around him are not good people. And if Charlie was this, stand-up awesome guy, people are arguing that how could he possibly be surrounded by these people? Why would he allow it?
I think also that it's important that we remember that like some people, and I didn't know a whole lot about Charlie. I knew of his name, but I wasn't a super fan or something like that before. But there are a lot of people, of course, who were dedicated to Charlie. And so it's like you have to separate yourself from the Charlie that you thought you knew versus, maybe the Charlie that was, to try to be objective.
A lot of questions here. Saying Tupa USA is non-denominational. Yeah, I mean, it basically seems like they just want churches. I don't think they care what church it is. They just want to have churches and pastors pulled into their fold.
Well, they also want them, though, to make sure that they subscribe to a certain belief. They are training those people. I have looked because I've now subscribed to their mailing list, and I'll probably get unsubscribed now that I've said that. But and so that way I can, you got to see what they're saying, right?
Don't give away your secrets.
Well, that's okay. We'll get more people to sign up on my behalf. But anyway, we're all in this together. And anyway, they put out something over the weekend that said, like, we've reached, I don't know if it was 10,000, 100,000, whatever it was, some large number of churches throughout the country, right? You can find your new church home too, right? And you just click here to find it. And so, I started looking around and I was surprised, of course, to see all these new TPUSA approved churches near me. And I'm just like, what is this? I thought, again, I thought this was a political organization. Oh, no.
So I just want to kind of put a bow on the allegation stuff really quick for the chain of custody. But so the key takeaways from all of this, like obviously we've gone into some of the questions and stuff, but the key takeaways is that the Kirk cases alleged breaches. So the SD card removal, scene contamination, missing video, leaks, log gaps, the FBI saying that 3 different random people were the killer up front, all of that, each misstep could be grounds to suppress evidence and or dismiss charges. So even if Tyler Robinson is guilty, those type of things, especially several of them happening, could end up being him getting off. So, and it's once he's off, he's off. He can't be tried for the same crime twice.
It's true. Good old double jeopardy.
And I think that's what happened to OJ.
Oh, and speaking of OJ, I think it is worth talking about the idea of tainting the jury pool. You want to talk about that? I mean, I think that we hear so much of people saying like, Oh, well, that's why we can't discuss evidence or we can't talk about the case.
Let's see, Measured Man. Thanks for the super chat. It's prosperity gospel. I didn't leave God. I left the church 2 years ago when I did my own research. All of this is a part of the Seven Mountains mandate. Not familiar with any of that.
I've heard the concept, but Allie, have you run across? Do you know how to explain the Seven Mountains mandate? Or do we still have you?
I can't even hear you, Kelly. Sorry. I
Oh,
always have to go back to my iPad there. I can't hear you.
okay.
It all goes back to when TPUS, Rob McCoy met Charlie. Okay. And Rob McCoy introduced Charlie to Jack Hibbs. So Rob McCoy met Charlie around 2020. And we go back to the timeline for this. This is when Charlie's getting really bigger in following and what he's doing. And now they want to push the faith in there. Okay. So how do we get it bigger? Well, who's the biggest pastor of them all? So Jack Hibbs. So Jack Hibbs was introduced to Charlie in 2021. So then Rob McCoy actually stepped down as pastor, I believe July 2025. He stepped down as pastor, and how coincidental Charlie died in September 2025. Now, leading up from 2020 to 2025, a lot of faith was pushed into this. And I don't know if Charlie wanted it. He did. But everything was happening to him so fast that he was actually leaving that type of faith after. He didn't like anything that was going on, Christian-wise. But because for me, they're changing the Bible as we know it. I don't want to get into this whole religion thing because it's like a rabbit hole. But for me, the Calvary Chapel churches are just, if you want to go look them up, they have about 1,800 chapels worldwide or more, I believe. And they don't preach the Christian way. That for anybody in the chat, let me know if I'm wrong. Am I wrong?
I've only heard them talk politics. I haven't heard them say anything about God or anything from the Bible.
Really, really political. And not just that. It's just we can go on how Jesus died on the cross. That's even manipulated and changed and switched up and rewritten. So I don't want to get into religion right now, but I feel like what's happening, all this together combined, is a big spider web, and it has a lot to do with religion because they can use religion for laundering everything around, and they're using that right now for speech because they can do it through their service to manipulate people because some people are really heavily into the church. And it's his church. The Calvary Chapel is massive. He has a massive following.
For politics and for power and for financial gain. Okay. And so when just this week, we've got a, big kind of revelation going on in Texas. But this is coming to a state near you just this week in Texas. And if you're on X, I just posted, I put it, or on my Instagram as well. I think I also put it on my YouTube as well. I posted a video that I made kind of summing this up. Kind of interesting that Governor Abbott, our Texas governor, and our lieutenant governor have welcomed in Turning Point, saying they want Turning Point and Turning Point Faith to come into every high school
I saw that.
in the state of Texas. And if anyone wants to turn them away, they will fight. The state will fight back. Okay, which to me is just crazy because, like it is clearly a politically and religiously charged, entity. And the way that, especially when Allie and I have done these deep dives, it's not coming from even just a moderate place. Like they have gone off the rails from they have just gone off the rails from, if you loved Charlie, they have gone off the rails from what Charlie intended. That's all I'll say on that.
Yeah, I did my video on church versus state a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it was coming from, was seeing kind of like the military complex in their churches and them crossing the line in a lot of places and pushing politics and stuff. It should not be mixed together.
Yes. And then on top of that, I'm wondering, I'm like, hold on now. Could that $1 million of this campaign finance money, are they putting it into Turning Point so then it can get re-injected back into Texas, into someone else's campaign from Turning Point in another way? It's dirty. So.
Well, and there was election fraud already.
Yes.
Tyler Boyer got pardoned.
And Tyler was
Trump.
there during the announcement.
Yep.
And he was turning off the microphone. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Tyler Boyer with TPUSA was, I think was it 70 people got in trouble for election fraud, and he was part of that. And President Trump pardoned him. So he's a criminal, right?
But he's the core team.
Let's see. Creative Legacy Systems official, thanks for the super chat. TPUSA is a money laundering operation, and that is why he wanted a Doge audit. That's another good point. The audit has been called off since he passed.
Like, why? That's the big question. Why?
Yeah, let's see. We have another Allie shout out for you. Good to see your skills being put to good use, Allie.
Oh, look at Imani. There we go.
It's Imani.
Hey, Imani, Houston in the house, okay?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't agree with him. Even his closest friends didn't agree with him on everything. Let's see. Yeah. A lot of people get that feeling that TPUSA, because someone pointed out that every woman at TPUSA is young and attractive, and a lot of young boys. Now, some would say that's just because they target the youth, but maybe they target the youth in ways that they shouldn't be, if you know what I mean.
Well, Mikey McCoy met his wife there, and now she's an administrator, right? Assistant or something.
Think for yourself, like sand through the hourglass, so are the Charlie Kirk days of our lives.
That's clever.
Oh my God. That's a good one. Think for yourself. Oh my God, love that.
That's pretty funny. So it looks like from the poll, many of you thought that Charlie knew that some of the people around him were sketchy. Now, that could be why he did the Doge audit. That could be why he's dead. Maybe he started figuring that out too late, and he started asking questions and digging into stuff, and people got uncomfortable, and they said he's going to figure this out. We have to take care of him.
So Matthew, let me
probably, but why wouldn't he fire these people a long time ago is my question. I'm thinking that Tyler has some kind of blackmail over him. It all has to do with that.
How are you going to fire people that are deeply embedded in the political system and the military?
Exactly.
Without having major repercussions. And his wife's parents are military contractors with Israel.
Who? Tyler's, right? Who are you talking about?
Erica Kirk.
Oh, Erica Kirk. I'm talking about Tyler Boyer.
What about him?
Why didn't he fire him?
He kind of did, didn't he?
He demoted him. He demoted him. Which
is the same as getting fired, basically, right? He kept him in the building, but he moved him to a less position.
True.
It still stings, right? That would sting the same to me.
Yeah.
Let's see. Measured Man.
Oh, Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say thanks for the super chat. Me being petty, yes, Houston, but the Woodlands in the house. I have a sense of humor.
Yes, there we go.
Measure man.
Nice. So I was going to say, what if Charlie dropped more Easter eggs than Taylor Swift? And these things were not these things were really just little planted Easter eggs. And again, that you're talking to someone who doesn't believe that he's actually dead, right? So that the Doge audit was all just to say, okay, well then they can hang on to this. They'll a kind of a setup as to like, okay, well they'll hang on to this and this will make sense as to why like I'm headed out. Why someone would come, why someone would want to get rid of me.
So look at this picture. He does not look like someone who's in distress or stressed out about anything.
Oh my! Okay, guys. I have done a side by side. That is not the same guy on the FBI release imaging. I'm sorry.
No.
It's not.
I think many would agree.
It is not. From the ears to the chin to the lips to the nose, no. I even did like a side by side where you can actually take the frame. You probably know this, and then just swipe it over, ghostly over the face, and you can even tell. Didn't he have a different backpack too? Does anybody know about that? The backpack?
Well, they're saying he changed his outfit, right? Isn't that the FBI narrative? He changed an outfit 4 times.
But he changed a backpack too?
If he can change clothes, he can change a backpack.
Where did he get the other backpack from then?
And his shoes. He didn't change his underwear though. No underwear changes.
The FBI can lie pretty good. I can see that.
Well, if you hear like Tucker Carlson, a lot of people coming out lately, they said they just straight up don't trust the government. They don't trust the FBI or CIA. Tucker said that yesterday, I believe.
I agree.
Benny Johnson said the same thing. And you have to remember that these people are friends with Kash Patel. And they're saying, we don't trust you. We don't trust you or your organization.
Yes.
Let's see. Catherine Elaine, I haven't at all considered the thought that Charlie was still alive until today. I guess it's possible he elaborately entered into the witness protection program by faking his death.
Welcome to the light, Catherine. But seriously though, it actually kind of, you might find that if you do think about it that way, it may help. I don't know, then it does give you a little bit of a different perspective. We can chat about it all. You're welcome to DM me and we can talk through things too, like once you've slept on it as well, because I know it's like a lot to process.
I'm just looking over here. Base Taz says he just got back from Gary's and the mods banned him. I'm trying to see what was the stream about.
I think he had the attorney. I think he had Andrea back on. Like once you slept on it as well.
Let's see. Prove that. Oh, no, that's not it. I'd be alive. Oh, he has ballistics experts on talking about the 30-06.
Oh.
Interesting. I'm curious what they say because he's already said a few times he thinks that it's plausible and just depends on the load and the tip and all that kind of stuff. So, and he is technically, literally a ballistics expert and teaches other people. So, if he thinks it's possible, then it must be
Gary or the person who he
Gary.
has on? Gary.
Yeah, someone else said they're going to say it doesn't look like Tyler either. Let me pull him back up again. Oh, I lost it already. I mean, he definitely looks skinnier. Some people pointed out he's lost some hair. I mean, you can imagine it'd be pretty stressful in there. Looks like he's aged a few years. Yeah, a lot of people have said that about Charlie Kirk too. He looks like he has dissociative identity disorder, or that he was, what do they call that? like where you have no like emotion ever. What was that called? I can't remember what the word is, but like you see him with Erica and with his kids, and sometimes he would have zero emotion and be interacting with them. It's almost seemed like a robot or something.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Is that like Asperger's disease or is something else? I don't know. Someone said that he had a little bit of, it looked like he had like a tick or something, like when he talked sometimes.
And also, I'd seen some people say that there was a kind of a tick with the hand on one side. I mean, I haven't studied him that much to know if that was true, but
All right, now this is a good question. I'd be interested to hear you, Kelly.
Mhm.
Would CK actually let someone sit in jail if he is alive?
So this is one of those situations that I think that we have to really dissociate, right? Our perception of old CK and, you know, new CK. And yeah, I do think so, right? If you're sitting on top of the world and you're I don't know, worth $100 million or whatever, and your life was on the line, and who knows, maybe Tyler is ultimately getting paid or promised a big fat sum of money. Like, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, there's multiple people agreeing, and I guess Jesse and Fire did some kind of comparison that they're not the same person. Even the hairline. I think there's some girl, she was a stylist or something, and she said the hairline was completely different too. Yep, 3 mentions. Let's see, Charlie boy, he's mentioned his friendship gone wrong. That's funny. So 3 mentions from Charlie, and Boyer only had 1. It's a friendship gone wrong.
Measured Man is on a roll tonight.
Now, I had the thought initially that okay, so some I don't excuse me because I'm terrible with names. Whoever approached Charlie about Turning Point initially and got him started and gave him like the seed money. I can't remember the guy's name. He's dead.
Not Ackman, and not Priest, different man.
But I think he's passed
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
But my point was just that I had the thought initially that they kind of made him the mascot and let him and kept him busy speaking.
Mhm.
And then when they saw he was making money and stuff, they built this whole company behind him. And he just kind of kept doing like the whistleblowers were saying he delegated everything out. So did he actually have any involvement with TPUSA's dealings behind the scenes? Maybe one day he actually went and looked for once and was like, holy crap, at what he saw. And maybe that's what started this whole thing.
Right.
Let's see. Tyler Robinson gets lots of mail. Yeah, a lot of people would say it's a psyop of some sort.
Okay, someone says you're falling for a psyop if you think he's alive and if you think he's dead. What does that mean?
That would be the ultimate psyop.
Like that it never none of this ever happened at all? That we didn't see anything at all? We just saw something like we just saw programming?
It was a hologram. I didn't even look at that one. People are like, "Oh, it's a hologram." No, there's no way.
Well, I don't know. It could have been because I don't know. You remember August? He did the Trump shooting. I
Yes.
couldn't believe it. You know how the people in the audience were fake. I'm going, what? This is crazy. And maybe that was a pre-show for this. Who knows?
Well, here's the thing: you have to have the proper lighting, the proper angle, and all of that stuff to be able to see one of those. So,
Right.
And you have cameras from basically 360 degrees around Charlie, and you can see it from every angle. That would be impossible to do. And to be able to have his crew jump on top of him and pull him off the chair and all that stuff to the in person and through the screens and everything in the projector. There's
Right.
no way. There's no way to choreograph that.
I
It's
literally
impossible.
said that a long time ago. How are they going to do that? It's too close up and personal for me.
And daylight, right?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Like Michael Jackson moonwalking in Vegas is one thing. He's up on stage and it's dark. Catholics call themselves Christians. Guinness has demonstrated anything but lately. Rituals is what Roman Catholicism practices. Yep. He's alive. It was the squib. A lot of people, I'm surprised at how many people believe that theory, that he's still alive.
Well, I don't know. That doesn't look like a necklace to me. Remember, me and you disagree on that, Matthew.
Well, it's also, I don't think it's close enough to be able
Right.
to tell.
We need a closer up angle of that.
Now, this is a good thought. K-Wags, Tyler's been acquitted, or he will be acquitted, and then he will sue the state for millions for wrongful arrest. Taxpayers will be paying again.
Yes. 1000%.
If he can make it that long.
Yeah, what is kayfabe?
I have heard a lot about that in the last, I don't know, I think I started hearing about that in like the last 24 hours, and I hadn't had a chance to fully investigate. So if somebody in the chat could educate us, otherwise we could Google it. But I do see someone saying it's like a play, but it only works if you think it's real. But there's a lot of articles about it. I do know that.
Yeah, so Kathy Healing Music, the still alive theory answers a lot of questions. I think that's why a lot of people believe in it. It kind of fills in the gaps that nothing else makes sense for.
Well, look how many actors there were there. That one of the chiefs was an actor, right, Kelly? We were talking about that. And Hunter Kozak's dad works for Jimmy Kimmel, producer. I mean, we got so many actors on this orchestrated event that there's a lot of things that are sketchy and programmed reactions, just bizarre reactions from something so traumatic.
Yep.
So it looks like kayfabe is like a play, but it only works if you think it's real.
Well, if we kind of extrapolate that out a little bit and you think about that your mind, if you think about like that red, and I don't know if this is exactly right, but like that red dress, blue dress kind of thing, or if it's the concept of like how your mind kind of takes that next jump when it's anticipating finishing a sentence or the next action that's going to come because it's like seen something happen before. Maybe y'all can correct me, if I'm totally off base, but I don't know. I mean, maybe that helps to kind of like bridge the gap. I think like people, you just make those little leaps. You're in the Matrix.
Yeah. This high profile situation is doing some serious damage for Calvary Chapel overall. But as with all things, nothing is ever totally one characterization. So, Ali, if you want to speak to it, there's been basically since Erica came out and since Candace has been pointing out certain things, everyone's wiping their social media accounts.
Well, yes. Well, back in September, and don't ask me why, more so like the end of September, beginning of October, I started noticing the Rob McCoy sermons, and I just started, just screen recording them when I was cooking, not thinking in a bazillion years that he'd delete it. So I screen recorded it, and when he was in, can we say the country or no?
We cannot, according to YouTube.
Okay. So I don't know what you want to call it. I'll call it TikTok. So when Rob McCoy was in TikTok, because they own it, Baron Coleman went live and was showing the YouTube of his sermon in live time. And it just automatically, he put it private. When he was in TikTok, he put that video private in live time. And I was watching this, and then Ian Carroll did a video on it. So then I'm like, oh my God, I have it. And so I just waited to see if anybody else had it or was going to release it. And I'm like, crap, well, what do I do with this? He said some pretty strange things on there for a sermon of an hour long. Lots of things. Epstein, a whole bunch of things about Candace and Tucker, unifying the churches, really, really shady, sketchy things. And he deleted it when Barron was showing it. So then I actually posted it because nobody wanted to share it. Here's the thing, guys. When it comes to this stuff and that actual word that we're discussing, TikTok taking over or whatever, nobody wants to share it. So I did it and I posted it on, I just started the X and I just posted it and it went berserk. Ian Carroll actually did a whole stream about me on his Twitch. And now everybody's coming to check about another sermon that I posted regarding Rob McCoy. And I believe he deleted that one. There is one where he does the whole election, talks about Tyler Boyer and how brilliant he is, and he's like Moneyball, and he just knows how to do this stuff. So there's that one, and then there's Mr. Jack Hibbs, his selfie video that I screen recorded when Charlie passed. He was the first one to say Charlie passed. It was Jack Hibbs that said this, no one else. He's the one that let this information out. Now, if you go try to find it, it's gone. It's completely gone. And we're seeing TPUSA as we know it. I just posted something today and, yesterday, sorry. And I believe Mr. Lecco put it on the live stream as well. And they all deleted their accounts. Well, Andrew did. Tyler went private.
Andrew Colvett, right?
Yeah, Andrew Colvett went private, and or he disabled it, and Tyler went private. Sorry. So that's what's happening with that.
So real time, they're basically trying to erase history of their social media and making their stuff private.
Exactly. And me and Kelly were touching on this yesterday because I was trying to do a deep dive of Phil Lyman, and if anybody can help me on this, I can't find the date he was born. I can find everything about him except his birth. So it's very interesting how they can just, Rob McCoy can just go to Wikipedia and put, I am co-chairman and I founded TPUSA Faith. No, you didn't. Sorry. So all these things are getting changed in front of our faces, guys. And I feel like social media, as we know it, if we don't, if we're not the voice, that little microphone that they encase in the box, that's Charlie's, well, they're silencing our voice too, along with his voice that's in that glass box on display, which I thought was disgusting. So if we don't speak up, everybody's scared to lose their accounts. They're trying to scare everybody. And at this point, I don't care. I'm not in on this for fame or fortune. What I want is the truth to come out. And that is all. And I think Kelly's the same way. Kelly doesn't have like astronomical numbers. We really work. We are up till 4 a.m. in the morning researching our brains out on live space on X's, talking about this stuff.
Literally. I mean, you can look at my Apple Watch. I'm getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night just trying to do my real job and this unpaid job, because I feel it from the bottom of my heart that we can figure this out. And it's just, I don't know, I feel a compelling, I just feel compelled to do it because it's what's right. And I just believe that together, that's why we want to be here, and that collectively working together, we can do it.
And to be clear, the FBI coming with the BS story up front is what really stemmed all this stuff. It put the spark in everyone. That's why you're seeing all these there's hundreds of YouTube channels all basically contributing to this. Julia Rose, True Crime Crashing Out. Thanks for becoming a new member. Let's see. 2 things happened. CK was shot, and they made it political. The only fake actors were security.
Oh, yes.
Now, that's an interesting point, too. So this is all a distraction from the Warren Epstein. So it's funny because everything keeps stacking up. First, it was the Epstein files, and then it was the Ukraine war stuff with Trump trying to get peace. And then it was this with Charlie Kirk. And then it was, what was after that? Then Epstein Files again. And then it was Venezuela. And it's like they keep trying to like move the ball, but but everything's happening all at the same time. I, at one point, was thinking that everything that happened with Charlie and Epstein Files were related somehow. Yeah, I won't talk about it on the live because I might say the wrong things, but yeah, I think Epstein may have had something to do with why Charlie is gone. Not that he wasn't directly involved, but maybe he found something out. And as you know, he was actually pushing really hard for them to release them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Like live on his podcast, right?
Yeah.
He did say that, yeah.
I think he did multiple times.
Yep.
Yep. If you look at it from the orchestrated perspective, it's the only thing that makes sense. And I think I said last night, I'm like, they were as orchestrated or choreographed as the New York City Ballet, you know, they had it down to a science. And you can look from actor to actor to actor to actor. And they pulled it off. But you know, in today's world, with as much video as we do have and a bunch of cyber sleuths who really care, I want to believe that they didn't fully pull the wool over our eyes.
So Planet Earth says, Al Guy's Nedrim theory been given to Tyler's lawyer yet? So as far as I know, I talk to him still somewhat regularly, and it sounds like he has contacted Tyler's lawyer, and he's contacted his team and offered to share the evidence that he has and his whole write-up. So he's been in contact, but I don't think that they've really responded. Why doesn't Candace challenge Erica to join her live during the show and let EK squash the lies in front of her viewers? No script, no prompter, just two people close to CK and the truth laid bare. I think you would probably have to have a bodyguard on each side.
It's like cat and mouse at this point. Like they're just not. I don't know. If I was Candace, I didn't want her to go at first, but I'm like, I thought she should have just went. You know, just go there, go and do the live stream and face them face to face. But maybe she wanted Erica to say something on public platform, which is the opposite of what I thought was going to happen.
Maybe they're setting us up for the ultimate pay-per-view on New Year's Eve. You guys, don't put anything past them.
I thought it was interesting how the Russell Brand, Candace Owens didn't do that well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, did you see the one video I sent you, Matthew? Like, I probably got lost in transmission, but I did send you one that hasn't been really circulating. It's of a girl going after the shot in Utah. She ran with her phone through the kitchen into the cafeteria, and there's two military guys dressed in military gear eating from a buffet, and they're like, Charlie's been shot, and then there's people just laughing. I mean, I'm going, what is going on here? Who are these two military men?
Yeah, you're gonna have to send me that video.
Yes, I did, but it's probably lost in a billion things.
Measured Man, thanks for the super chat. Look, they met in 2018. I'm trying to like give them like a tone here. Look, they met in 2018. Erica's mother started working with government in 2018 out of Delaware. They are leaving out of pieces. What did what's CEO Candace Owens say about Delaware? His sugar daddy did.
That's a good one.
So I think all the military stuff that Candace Owens is bringing up is really interesting to me. And now with this new thing, I'm not sure if everyone's heard or not, but they were talking about this military meeting that happened in Arizona the day before Charlie was shot. And supposedly Brian Harpole, head of his security, may have been there, according to some whistleblower. And also it sounds like maybe Blake Neff's dad or cousin or some kind of relation might have been there as well, allegedly. And then Candace was talking about all these military people everywhere around Charlie. Like he's basically being watched from every angle. And then you have the planes that have been following around Erica Kirk. Now, Candace said that was an allegation initially, and then she said she confirmed it. And then Tucker Carlson and some other people also confirmed it separate from her. So what is going on? And then TPUSA Faith is led by Rob McCoy, and he's ex-military as well.
Did you watch Valhalla's live stream last night?
Yes.
Oh, he just went off and he's like, I'm not doing this Charlie Kirk thing anymore. I'm done. Because everybody, like, they're trying to explain to him about the planes and all that stuff, and how Brian Harpole got there, and he just goes, and you know what, I'm done. So you guys saw that?
No, but you know how many times every creator said they're done with Charlie Kirk, and then they come right back because the views are there?
Maybe so.
Watch, give him a week.
But I do think that he had been moving away from it for the last couple of weeks. I mean, I've seen him really, I'd commented about that to a couple of my friends, noted that he really had, and he's had success, like, you know, talking about other news of the day. He's done well doing that. So maybe he felt that it was a good point to transition.
He's definitely contrarian. Everything that comes out, he gives you like the most like crazy angle of it.
Mhm.
Like the one he had where he was calling all the right guys, the Republicans on the right who were gay. You know, he said, "You go Queens," right? So he's definitely on that side of things. He is kind of the theatrics, I guess you would say.
Yeah. And then he had one night where he was loving on Nick Fuentes, and then
I don't think he really watches a lot of footage of stuff. Maybe a little bits and pieces of this and that, and maybe he wasn't prepared for that live stream regarding the planes and the military stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Are you talking about the one where he's addressing the Candace Owens whistleblower guy?
I think I'm talking about the most recent one where he went off and he told the chat, because all the chat was attacking him. This was just recently. I don't know if it was just his last one. Regarding the planes.
Let's see, I'm looking it up here.
Yeah. He said, that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done with Charlie Kirk. And
yeah, so the last one he did was military versus Charlie, and that was that whistleblower guy. Yeah. So, I mean, so it's interesting because there's all these military channels, like Black Scout Survival, Valhalla VFT. So they all were basically coming out and saying that this was a BS story. The things they were saying, like the EF4, EF5, E4, E5 ranks and stuff were actually like, 04, 05 and completely different. He was saying that some of the things lined up, like the location in Arizona was correct. The Mountain Southern Command was correct. So some of the stuff was right and some of it was wrong, but they're basically completely discounting him, right? You're saying this guy's full of crap. He's probably some crazy dude. But then you had, who was it? Barron. And then Barron started looking into flights. And some of the flights made sense for high-level brass to be, or allegedly like J.D. Vance or Trump flying into that area that same time period. So this meeting, although this whistleblower guy may sound like he's crazy in some aspects, according to these other people, something about that flight going in there might put some truth to it.
Yeah, and it was the Tel Paso flights too. It's Tel Paso, I think Camp Springs and Colorado. That's the one he was just like, what does that do with anything? So that's the episode that he got upset about.
Must have been at the end.
Yeah, I think it was the Baron Coleman flights that people were talking about in the chat. But anyways, yeah, it was very interesting. Baron Coleman's take on that, the flight data there. That was very interesting.
I was going to completely discount all of it until
Yeah?
I heard about the flights. And then I was like, huh, interesting.
Yeah. I found something interesting on that too, but I'm still researching and I can't say anything yet, but I found a big bomb on the flights as well. So from him posting that, I saw something. So I'm not saying it yet, but I'm going to drop the bomb soon.
Julia Rose, True Crime crashing out. Thanks for your viewpoint. Much respect. Great coverage. Thanks for the super. That's funny. Trigger, love your show, just not your kids. I mean, your mods. Yeah, so to everyone, I will pre-apologize for this, but my wife helps me out with moderating, and she's not always available, and sometimes she has to run around and tend to the kids. So I checked out Nightbot, which is an automatic moderator, and you can set thresholds and all that kind of stuff, and which words and who can use caps and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like aggressive at the moment. So it sounds like I could probably dial it back a little bit. So I apologize for that. Let's see. So the other thing that was interesting too is all of the anti-Candace channels on X, YouTube, and everywhere, almost in perfect sync, posted the same post everywhere at the same time.
Yes.
I mean, if like somebody sent out a press release with bullet points to them, they got that, copy paste.
And now for people that don't know, there's a lot of creators that get paid to say certain things, and they're all kind of in a clique. You have some on the left and some on the right. So if you see messaging that's very consistent across all of them, just know they got paid to say that. Let's see. DD Got a Podcast made a great point. If this wasn't rehearsed, and by the way, DD Got a Podcast, I believe he also believes that it was faked and that he's still alive. How could the security team operate without ever speaking a word to each other? Emergency aid requires communication. They did have earpieces in.
That's a good point, though. Amani, and I also watched DD podcast, his last one, talking about the body, and like she has a lot of money. She could just, I think she has plans of where she's gonna put the body or something like that. But she could have already had a big tomb and locked it somewhere. I don't know what they're called, but that could have been done in a heartbeat. Right? Am I right, guys? Or what? They could have done that already.
Measured Man, thanks for the super chat. They go through all of this versus telling the truth. Candace Owens lawsuits were filed out of Delaware, where her mom started her company Superfeed, not in Arizona like the claim. I know that her she got busted where her lawyers were in the same building as the FBI or CIA or something similar. So I don't know if this is true 100%, but Nick Fuentes and Tim Pool and some of those people are claiming that Candace Owens is an agent or something similar. They might just be doing this just to mess with her because she's taking their views and making them lose money and stuff. But if they can prove that, that would be insane.
If they can prove that, I mean, they should come forward with it. But when I had looked up pretty early on, I mean, I thought that her company was registered as a Delaware, LLC. So, I mean, I had seen initial filings in Delaware. So that's why I never thought that the Delaware thing was that big of a deal.
Yes, Tim Pool has gone off the deep end. I don't know what his full situation is, but it sounds like, it's kind of funny because 2 days before he crashed out, he was just talking about how stable and financially good, well off his companies were and everything. And then 2 days later, he's saying that they're going to have to close down if they can't figure something out. Let's see. Can autopsies be FOIA'd? Let me see.
Depends on the state. Depends on the state, the situation. Mm-hmm.
Depends on who. If Trump's involved, who knows?
Yeah, it looks like some of the HIPAA laws protect it from being FOIA'd. Privacy of medical information.
Well, I mean, technically not HIPAA because HIPAA doesn't apply to those who are deceased, but when it comes to, if I recall correctly, in Utah, I'm trying to think. Oh gosh, now it just escaped me. But yeah, I think it was supposed to be releasable in. Oh man, no, I had it verbatim in Utah. Sorry.
Well, it says common exemptions for autopsy reports include.
Yeah.
It says they typically. Well, it says they typically withhold preliminary notes, investigative findings, and graphic photos, even if the report's made final, they still withhold all the important stuff. So it wouldn't really help out. That's what it looks like. Interesting.
They had just changed the autopsy law, though, in Utah for sure. I do remember that.
Measured Man says, as an attorney, they filed in Delaware. Candace is registered in Tennessee, so her attorney had to grant congressionally to represent her in another jurisdiction. Okay, here we go. This is for you, Kelly, on the spot. Boom.
Uh-oh. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, I'd clicked out of this scene so I could look at the
Thing.
Yes. That's what I get for trying to do research for the chat.
The question. Curious
Okay.
what Kelly thinks of Gary and Harpo's relationship and expertise. Since you have
Oh
spoken with
man.
Gary.
Now y'all are gonna really get me. Okay, hold on. Let me figure out where my link went. Okay, ask me the question again while I'm finding her.
Curious what Kelly thinks of Gary and Harpo's relationship and expertise. So, well, then this is considering that Harpo had already had an interview on Sean Ryan and basically spilled the beans, but now Gary and Harpo felt a need to do a second follow-up interview to clear his name even more.
Well, okay. I thought that it was mighty interesting that they started the interview discussing their dinner the night before and exchanging gifts the way that Sean Ryan did, and a
Same
whole
chair
like,
set up. Yeah.
Yep, and a whole like 15 plus minute back and forth before like we got to. If you want to be a journalist and that's what we're going for, that's just not the vibe. That's just not the vibe. And we're talking about serious stuff here, and you know that like you've got the big get and you got the get, so let's get to it. And I would tell that to Gary today if I could talk to him.
So we're talking about this one here, this follow-up Brian Harpo interview. Charlie Kirk, what really happened?
Yeah. And so if that set the stage, then I would say that it was a disappointment kind of from there. I don't think that, that the feet were held to the fire, unfortunately.
No, I have nothing personally against Gary at all. And I've actually reached out to him before to interview him or talk to him. But with his channel being 282,000 subscribers, they only got 30,000 views on this Brian Harpo interview, and that was 2 weeks ago. That is extremely low numbers, especially considering how important that interview should have been, and him trying to clear his name and him being directly tied to the Charlie Kirk stuff.
And I will say, you know, it has nothing to do with being shadow banned, suppressed, some, algorithm fail whatsoever. You just didn't bring the goods, my man.
Let's see. They had a live court appearance with Tyler today. Did they decide if trial will be broadcast for the public? Anybody know? So yes, it is official that they will be allowing cameras unless the people running the cameras mess up and keep filming his shackles or some other stipulations they had. So as of right now, it sounds like it will be public, which is huge. I don't think people would have allowed it to not be public. I think there would have been a riot or something. Not that I think anyone should do anything like that. Let's see. They barely allow autopsy FOIA. Let's see. Autopsy FOIA, if you get it, it takes years. Yeah. And the FOIA for autopsies also depends on if it was a natural death or a homicide and that kind of thing, or a suicide too.
That's right. Yep. That's, thank you for bringing that up. It's like if there was any kind of inkling that it could have been something other than a suicide, then an autopsy was merited, and then that would be potentially available.
I'm looking this one up. Doesn't Tyler have representation by the Menendez brothers' lawyers?
Yes, that's correct.
Interesting.
And it didn't initially start out that way, but that attorney did, I believe, I don't know if it's volunteering his time or what his overall arrangement is, but yes, he came into the picture after the fact.
Let's see. What's his name?
But Kelly, didn't they have his lawyers or whatever? I watched one. I don't know if it was on Jimmy Dore or whatever. They appointed the highest lawyer in New York for him, and it was disapproved for him to get that lawyer. So who appointed these lawyers for him?
I don't know about New York. This person is from California, if I recall correctly.
Let's see. So we have this one here. Erica Kirk kept him from death penalty by saying she forgave Tyler Robinson when she was at the memorial. When she did that, my first thought was she just gave him his life back. So here, this is controversial because Charlie Kirk was 100% behind the death penalty. A life for a life. He believed in that. So if he was the leader of the household and her husband, you would think that she would go all out with it because that's what he believed in. So she'd technically be going against his beliefs if she doesn't want him to be given the death penalty.
She's leaving it to the. I think I remember her. I remember this clearly. She's leaving it to the FBI to deal with it. She doesn't want to leave that in her hands and her choice or whatever. She doesn't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, but I mean, as I've seen people saying today, it's mighty interesting, though, how she could be so compassionate to that man, as she said in that moment, that young man, but then turn to the camera so dramatically for Candace, right? And make the face and the comments. Sorry, I had to be dramatic as she was. Yeah. Oh, I got to laugh out of Matthew.
That's rare.
And you know, and do the whole shtick that she did on Fox, and not be you know, with Candace. So that just doesn't add up.
I think this is to you again, Kelly.
Let's go.
It's a challenge.
Oh. Okay, I'm ready.
I know this one. Didn't they say, Kelly, that all the files for the Macrones were in the same place for her lawsuit?
Wait, hold on. Is this the not just saying they filed in Delaware? Is that the question?
Yeah, why not Tennessee, where Candace lives?
Or why not? What I was thinking was that it was because her LLC, her business was incorporated in Delaware. That was the reason why they filed in Delaware, or their rationalization. Now, could they have filed in Tennessee? Sure. Maybe they were just trying to be pains in the asses, you know? Like maybe they wanted to make it difficult for her. I don't know. I'm not the lawyer, right? But it was like if they had a reason to make it more complicated and they took it.
Sean Ryan isn't a journalist. That's why they gave him the interview.
Yeah, he was convenient.
Yeah, they didn't ask him hard questions at all.
Really. They knew that he was going to be sympathetic. And he, you know, started off with a prayer and gummy bears. Facts.
Let's see. Yeah, we still have a lot of people saying it's not a 30-6.
I don't think it was the 30-06. What do you think, Kelly? I don't think it was.
No, no way.
Yeah, I think the same. Not going to watch the Harpole Paramount Tactical stuff. Yeah, I think that's probably partially what happened. I think the first one, most people couldn't even finish watching it on Sean Ryan. They just smelled, they smelled BS.
I'll tell you, I spent that $4 or whatever that night that initial night to subscribe, and I unsubscribed, and I've unsubscribed from emails 3 times, and I still keep getting them. I'm about to have to report him to the authorities.
Why is the defense wanting it private? Wanting what private specifically? The cameras? Is that what you're referring to, Kyle Wilbur? As of right now, it's not going to be private.
Oh, you mean wanting to keep I guess meaning to keep the entire proceedings. Uh-oh. Do we lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
So someone says they thought they blocked the Menendez brothers lawyer.
Okay, Julie. I was just being funny.
That's what I thought too. So, like, I watched something regarding this, Kelly. Like, we got to look into who the lawyers are and who they wanted to appoint him, and how come he couldn't get his own lawyer.
I'll look back at that person, but I'm pretty sure that I had looked that guy up and that he was able to get that person. I thought that was one of the guys that was speaking today.
So while you do that, I'm going to kind of review this broken chain of custody. So
Okay.
for anyone who's been in here listening, we've kind of talked about many different things now. But originally it was going to be for chain of custody, is what we talked about.
Okay.
And just to kind of put a bow on it, so the things that have happened that could theoretically put Tyler Robinson, prevent him from getting convicted, is the SD card removal. And that's because during the time that that person had it, they could have modified it or made copies of it or done who knows what. And they said that TPUSA, I think it was Blake, said they gave it to the FBI. But how long did they have it for? Days? Hours? I mean, like in an hour, you can do a lot. And then crime scene contamination, people walking all over it, messing with it. We saw the police chief Long was messing with the microphone. We saw the guy get the SD card and walk around several times. They're moving around chairs and everything else. So, and I guess people were stealing hats and stuff too. So a lot with that. We had the missing video of the surrender. So Tyler turned himself in, apparently, and that video is gone. So premature leaks and statements. So we had them saying that several different people were the killer. And then eventually, after like 3 or 4 people, they landed on Tyler. And then you have missing documentation. No one has seen the actual weapon. The one that they showed was not the actual weapon itself. We have not seen the actual bullets. And then there's people saying that there's a whole bunch of forensic lab stuff missing, and there's no timestamps. Like on the videos don't have timestamps either. And there's been no independent review. So you have all these forensic tests, but they're all being done internally in the FBI and the government. There's no third parties that are testing this stuff to verify it. So all of that adds up to maybe a mistrial, but we'll see. And this thing could be drug out for a year plus, who knows?
I'm semi looking that up as well. I guess I wanted to add too that just as we all are sharing videos and documents and all that, we have to remember that we are all part of this. We are actively all part of this investigation, and we do all have a responsibility for, I don't know, in some way, shape, or form, being good custody, like being good custodians of information. Okay. And trying to document where you got something from, and how, if you changed anything about that video or photo or document when and where and how and why, all of that. I just think it's the responsible thing to do. Do you have any thoughts on that, Matthew? Because I mean, I personally have seen videos that ended up getting used that really ended up not being authentic, that, you know, it was frustrating to me to see them, to see people use them and think that they were so good when in fact they weren't.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. And I've also heard something too. There was a conspiracy. I won't say conspiracy. There were some people saying that basically a lot of the videos look like they came from the same source and were doctored.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, you see Charlie get shot, but it's like the same 3 videos that you see him get shot in, when there were hundreds of cell phones there. There was like 3,000 people there recording. What? Someone's saying Barron's a Fed. Stop listening to him. Barron is great entertainment.
He is not. He's a lawyer.
Yep, he's is he a current lawyer or ex-lawyer? I don't remember.
I think he's currently still a lawyer, right, Kelly?
I mean, we can all look his license up online. We could all look his license up online in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, they said Trigger is becoming a place to hear all the con theories and yet remain very sensible and moderate. Yeah, I think I've kept it pretty balanced. I know some people get very emotional and very invested in some of this stuff, and it's kind of hard to watch. Barron is not a Fed. Let's just turn this into a Barron chat. All things Barron.
Barron is great. Barron is great. We talk. He's amazing.
Yeah, I think
his
he's
investigation of
wonderful.
this whole entire thing is amazing. So
Yeah, I think he's
hail to
awesome.
Barron.
Well, and he's busting his butt to bring information.
He
finds-
is. He did
Yeah.
what was it, a 5 or 6 hour live stream?
Yeah, I've never seen him do less than 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, and he brings the heat every time. I have so much props for that guy. Even when I will disagree with him on stuff, I have a lot of respect for that guy.
He has good hats too.
Yes.
Let's see.
And great personality. You know, you gotta love someone who's got some personality.
All right, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any more super chats or anything in here. I think we're starting to wind down a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate everyone being here. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe and go check out Ali and Kelly. They are on X and Kelly's several places. But go check her out everywhere. And
Definitely. Thank you guys so much for being here. And let's keep the conversation going. Thank you so much, Matthew, for having me again. I'm very honored to be part of this. So I really, really appreciate it. And you guys, we just got to keep working together. We are, I mean, all the heads are better than one. So instead of working against each other, we've got to work together.
it also seems like everyone's bringing their own individual pieces that are building up to one whole. So now there's always
the people are bringing everything together. And if we don't do that, if we lose any kind of significance on this whole entire Charlie Kirk thing, we can't. We have to keep this going. Like Candace said, go Max, go Vax, or whatever she said.
And if you guys can, do me one favor on the way out, besides hitting the like, can you go to Off Script Radio and subscribe so we can get to 1,000 subscribers so I can move this dedicated podcast over there. And again, I appreciate you being on, Kelly and Ali, and everyone else. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.